Hey, you're having a hard time getting your chords to sound good? Well, if that's the case, you're not alone. In this video, I'm going to show you just what you need to know to fix that. Hi there, I'm Thomas Michaud from Real Guitar Success. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel so I can get you more lessons on how to play guitar with confidence, connect with others, and have fun. It's very common when you're first learning chords to have strings that are buzzing or strings that are muted or even completely dead notes. This is something that student after student has somehow been surprised, and I'll have to admit, in the beginning, I thought maybe I was just missing something. But you know, a lot of it just has to do with making small adjustments and learning the little subtleties of hand position and finger placement. It takes time and practice, but there are some very clear tips that I can give you that'll help you to get it right faster. And more importantly, after giving you a list of tips, I'm going to teach you a system so that you can learn the habit of getting finger placement just right so those chords will sound beautiful every time. So let's get started with some basic tips on good finger placement. Now, you might have heard some of these before, but please bear with me. Sometimes hearing something again will be just what you need to get it right, and also you might learn something new. Bad sounding chords are caused by either your fingers are touching another string as you're playing the chord and it's muting out the note, or you're not pressing hard enough to make the note sound clear. So first off, you want to make sure, this is probably an obvious one, but make sure your nails are short on your left hand. This is something I have had to tell students to cut their nails, because if your fingers can't press all the way down, even if the nail touches a little bit, it'll make it difficult to get a good sounding note. Secondly, make sure when you press the note that your finger is close to the fret, not on top of the fret, that will mute the note, but up close to the fret, just behind the fret. The farther back it is, the harder it is to get a good sounding note. The harder you have to press down also. So as close to the fret as you can. And sometimes you'll get it closer than others depending on the form of the chord, but just as close as you can. So the third tip is to make sure when you're playing the chord that as best you can, your finger is not touching another string. So that might seem obvious, but it's something you just need to keep in your mind as you're playing the chord, that your finger is only pressing on the note and not accidentally touching the string before or after it. So now, the main issue, you might say. This is by far the biggest issue that people have with making chords not sound good. And that's the way they place their finger is causing it to either touch another string or not press the note clearly. So you want to put your finger on the string in such a way that it goes up and then back down. First of all, if you take a look at my hand and say this is the neck of the guitar, you want the finger as much as possible to go straight into the string like this, not like this. If it's like this, it's going to touch a string down here and mute the string. Now, just for the record, sometimes you actually want that. When you're making certain chords, I'll make a chord in a way that I let the finger touch a string to deaden out a note I don't want. But for the most part, you're going to want to keep all the strings open and sounding clear. So the fingers need to go like this. Another way to think about that is your fingers are going to go up and down, kind of like if you curl your fingers like this. They're going up and then back down, not so much like this. Now, sometimes you have to compromise a little, but for the most part, the more your fingers go like this, the more they're going to touch another string. So we're looking for a motion like this or a position like this. You get this position by having a good hand position on the guitar, having your fingers go up and then back down onto the strings. Here's what I like to do. Pretend you're holding a ball in your hand, let's say about the size of a softball, and that's the hand position, nice and relaxed, not clenching. Then take that position and put the guitar neck right in between your thumb and your fingers. Now, thumb position, right quick. Some people place their thumb like that. There's no absolute right or wrong. I prefer to teach students from the beginning to put your thumb behind the neck in a relaxed way, not kinked like this, but relaxed like this, roughly in the middle of the neck. This is what some people call kind of a classical positioning. And it seems more difficult in the beginning to have your thumb behind the neck as opposed to wrapping it around because you're trying to hold on to the neck of the guitar. But in the long run, it's actually easier. It's just a habit. It's easier to move around and to make more difficult chords, but it's also a little easier to get your fingers to go up and then down onto the neck. So the final tip has to do with the amount of pressure you put on the string. If the string is buzzing, you might want to experiment with pressing a little bit harder. I know for a lot of students it hurts their finger, especially on a steel string acoustic guitar. And there's really no way out of that. It just usually hurts your fingers when you're first learning, especially on the steel string guitar. And you will get used to it. The thing to do is just keep coming back at it a little at a time, and your fingers will get both desensitized and just tougher in general, thicker skinned. But the issue also is not just usually about pressing hard enough, but correcting your hand position. So there's a compromise there. Keep working on better hand position, and you won't have to press as much. At the same time, you need to develop a little tougher fingers and be able to press hard enough to get a good, clear sound. Now, I realized over the years, and you may already realize this, that even though these tips are helpful, you don't really have time to think this all out as you're playing a chord, especially when you start moving from one chord to another. The key here is to develop a habit of good finger placement every time you go to put your fingers on the guitar. So with that in mind, I have a couple of exercises that I found are very effective to help you learn this basic habit. The first one is very simple, and keep all these tips in mind as you do these exercises. We're going to put the first finger on the second string first fret. Now take a look that your finger is angling up and then down and making a good curve. You're using more the tip of your finger than the flat part of your finger. That's another way of saying that. And of course, at the same time, you're not flattening out your finger, that there is good angles in both of the knuckles, especially this top knuckle. Now, you should have a little space between the neck and your hand as well. If your hand's up close, it gets harder and harder to actually angle your fingers without touching another string. So you need a little space there, and you should try to aim for something that's fairly relaxed, not too much tension. Now we're going to play the first three notes one at a time. And then go back to the second string. The third string, second string, and first string, and then back. So that's the first part of the exercise. If at first it sounds like this, dead first string, that would be fairly normal. So you get a chance to kind of adjust a little bit. Now right there, I was touching the third string as well. Now I'm pushing my finger up a little too much. So readjust. Now it's clear. Second string and first string. So now put your second finger down onto the second fret, second string. And then make a few adjustments so you get a nice clear sound. Then the third finger down on the third fret. And then go backwards. Second finger and first finger. Now by doing this, you're practicing all the basic movements so that your fingers are in the right place and that the first string sounds clear and the third string, the string before and after the finger, sounds clear. Now, you want to apply the same idea to playing chords, but if you practice it separately and focus on just what you need to do, little by little, that'll translate into as you play chords. So you want to practice this a little bit each day. Don't spend a half an hour on it. I'm talking, 3 to 5 minutes, a little bit each day. And over time, you'll see improvement. That's the first exercise. For the second exercise, we're going to expand on that a little bit and use a fairly easy chord. We'll call this an F major 7. To form the chord, you put your first finger on the second string first fret. Then your second finger goes down right next to it on the third string second fret. And finally, the third finger goes down the fourth string third fret. So here's what the chord should sound like. We're going to start with the fourth string. Now all the notes are sounding. And common for students that sound like this. Okay, because my fingers are touching some of the other strings. So this is a chance again to practice 3 notes together and making good finger angle. Notice again, my hand is going up and the fingers are going down. More so on the first finger, it's more exaggerated, and the third finger is a little more arced. I have some space between my hand. My thumb is back in the back of the neck, relaxed. If I let go of my hand, it just kind of falls. I'm not putting a lot of tension. I'm not putting a lot of strength here in my arm. What I'm doing is I'm holding onto the guitar with my thumb and the fingers. And because of the angle, it doesn't take a lot of strength for me to press down. Now, my fingers are close to the frets, not on top, but close to each of the frets. And I don't have my arm out like this. It really helps to have the arm close into your body because it keeps your hand more up and down as opposed to angle. This angle makes it harder to form the chord without touching other strings. So, form the chord, then start with the fourth string and go down nice and slow. I'm going to deaden the string. So now I'm going to make adjustment. Okay, now try again. So better, but often for students, they'll spend 2 or 3 minutes kind of trying to get the sound. Again, practice a little bit each day, and then little by little, your body will just start learning what to do to get the sound. There's this connection between your ear and your fingers. And by doing this over and over, little by little, your ear will tell your fingers where to adjust to get the right sound, and then that will become a habit. So once you start getting the hang of getting good, clean notes in your chord, you want to practice and get better at changing from one chord to the other and getting the fingers in the right place right away. I've created a whole lesson on this for you, and I'll put a link in the description below this video for you. Thanks for joining me today. It's been a pleasure as always, and I hope to see you again in another video. Hey, I do have a quick question. I'm wondering, what chord do you have the most problems with? I'd really like to know. If you could leave me an answer in the comment section below, I'd appreciate it. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Take care. I'll see you again soon.